My name is Sarah Grimwood, Chair of the Natural Resources Commission, and I'm calling this public meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Tonight's NRC meeting will be a hybrid in-person and Zoom meeting. We have a microphone set up on the commission table and plans will be projected through the TV monitor. If you're presenting via Zoom, please turn on your audio and microphone when it's time for you to speak. Following the presentation by the petitioner and questions from the commission, members of the public will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment. Please identify yourself with name and address for the record. You can also raise your hand from your phone by dialing *9 and use *6 to unmute. All video screens will be turned off with the exception of any commissioners attending virtually and the current petitioner. Once the commission has acted on an application, the petitioner is free to leave the meeting. In the event of any technical difficulties, all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will be automatically continued to the March 12th meeting. Please note that the meeting is being recorded. At this time, I would like the commissioners to introduce themselves, please.
Jim Smith.
Bill Cremeza.
Gary Kleiman.
Thank you very much. Okay, so first up on the agenda, as always, is public comment. This is limited to up to 10 minutes with no more than 2 minutes allocated to any one speaker. Public comment is limited to items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments? I see, no, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay, no public comments. So
Good.
we will move on. Do we have any commissioner comments tonight?
No, not for me.
No,
Not for
Gary?
me.
No,
Actually, the only comment I have from the chair's breakfast this morning was, do we have anybody ending their term this year?
Oh, I think my first term is up, isn't it? Do you know?
I think we can check on the website.
Well,
I think next term
What
might,
I learned was because town meeting is in June,
Oh.
apparently there is a provision that commissioners can continue until the town meeting,
oh, good.
even if it says, April or whatever.
I haven't looked. I just haven't.
Or a couple years thereafter,
looked.
as I found out on the Public Works Commission.
Yes, so Bill, you are up on your first term
Right.
and this
Oh,
is
this year?
this
Okay.
year, and this is Nick's second term
Okay.
this year.
So that means Nick can go till June,
Yeah.
assuming, yeah, right, great. That was all from me, so over to you, Julia.
Just a couple of things. We just got notice that as of February 14th, EEA has stated that the drought is still in effect, regardless of all the snow and
Wow.
precipitation that we've received.
Well,
So we are still in a critical drought, level 3 in the central
Wow.
and northeast regions. The Connecticut River Valley, Southeast, Cape Cod and Islands are in a level 2 significant drought. And the western region is in a level 1 mild drought, which is a little surprising,
Mm,
but obviously, streams assumed to be perennial that run dry during a drought cannot be presumed to be intermittent, and then the usual water conservation measures, we would still, note those. I mentioned at the last meeting about the second generation anticoagulant rodenticide warrant article. We do expect that is was submitted by as a citizen petition. And sort of coupled with that, the Natural Resources Division, along with the Lincoln Land Conservation Trust and the towns of Lincoln, Sudbury, Wayland, and Weston are hosting an educational forum by Mass Audubon on SCARs. That is March 10th at 7 p.m. It is at the Lincoln Public School Learning Commons, and it will be also a hybrid option. So if anybody wants information, this is the flyer for it, and there's some out on the table. And then the Warner's Pond Task Force had scheduled a March 13th public forum, and that will be postponed for the group. The planning team met earlier this week.
right. And so, yeah, we're looking like the end of March, but we haven't finalized it yet. So maybe around the 27th, but we're not
Okay.
sure yet.
Right, so not too late. Okay, good.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have 5 applications to be continued without discussion. Can I have
Has a
2,
question.
is there a question?
Can I
Sorry?
enter a commissioner comment retroactive to the director's
Yes,
update?
of course.
Just
Go
that-
ahead.
If you are thinking about scheduling a forum, I would love to be, I've not been part of the Warner's Pond Task Force and participating in that, but I would love to be part of the forum. And if there's a way, it could be the first week of April instead of the last 2 weeks of March. I'm out of town, but I don't know. You'll schedule.
Okay, well, that's a good point, Gary, when we'll have to see the availability, frankly, of the townhouse. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
But
okay.
yes.
The last 2 weeks of March hit private schools, right? Private school vacation.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
that's
forgot
your
about that.
issue, but Gary, but I
No.
think, but that is private school vacation.
No, it's
and
great,
I
we might be
think so.
better anyway.
Okay.
I
That
just
could
have
be-
work travel, but anyway.
Yeah,
it just,
I think
you
as
know.
long as we don't get into town meetings, and I think they actually start the second week in April, so,
The first week in April is a possibility, yeah.
I think,
I
I
just
think
checked
so.
the vacations.
Yeah.
I just
Good.
feel like this forum is gonna be an important thing for the NRC itself to because other than you, Bill, I think the rest of the NRC, we have been waiting to hear the
Yeah,
outcomes. rather than
absolutely.
Day to day, so. Okay, thanks. Sorry, didn't want to interrupt.
Thank you, Gary. Could I have 2 different motions, please? Because there's 2 different dates, I guess.
Sure. Want me to do it? Yeah, we can do it.
Oh, I can do it.
Okay.
This is the first one.
Yes.
So I move that we continue without discussion. The notice of intent for Concord Masonic Court, 58 Monument Square, DEP file 1371694. Notice of intent, I believe for 110 Spencer Brook Road, DEP file 1371686. Notice of intent, our Nurse Now Hill Association, 18 College Road, DEP file 1371690. And the notice of intent, Labandini, 154 Southfield Road, DEP file 137-1641. And to be continued to March 12th, 2025.
Second,
Thank you, Gary. And the vote, Jim?
Bill?
Bill?
Aye.
Gary?
I,
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you. And then we'll need another motion for the last one, please.
I'll keep going. Motion to continue without discussion to our meeting on April 2nd, 2025. The notice of intent of Nashotah Country Club, 1861 Sudbury Road, DEP file 137-1693.
second,
Thank you. And the vote, Jim?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Gary?
I,
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you. So first of new applications to be heard this evening is 40 Spencer Brook Road, RDA file 25-2. This actually, this is to replace an existing deck within the 100-foot buffer zone. And after discussion with staff, the applicants requested to withdraw the RDA and submit a NOI instead for this work. Because we are going to approve the withdrawal without prejudice, so we need to vote that we're all okay with that.
Okay, I'm gonna try that.
Yes, please.
All right, I move that we approve of the request to withdraw the RDA and submit an NOI for this work to approve the withdrawal without prejudice. This application, and this is for the project located at 40 Spencer Road, RDA number 25-2.
Second.
Thank you. And the vote. Jim
Aye.
Aye.
and Gary,
I,
and I'm an aye as well. Thank you very much. Okay, secondly, this is.
Yeah, we made it. It was
Um,
actually 7:10.
8A, Lindsay Pond Road, this is RDA, 25-3.
Joan, you wanna come on up? Come on up, join us.
Joan Ferguson, I'm a trustee of the Concord Land Conservation Trust. I live at 62 Neshoba Road in Concord. So this is a request to do some work to create access to a property. The land trust was given this property by Adele Rustino in 1999, and she continued to live right next door, so we didn't have to worry about access. But she died, and the property was purchased by Bushnell, who's building, well, it came before you, right? Building another house there, so we needed to create access to the back part of this property on our own property. And this would have been, pretty easy because, we're hugging the property line and staying away from the wetland. And one of the obstructions was a lot of overgrown autumn olive. And so that's an invasive area B. So we're proposing to cut and dab that and then, create our travel path. But there's this rather odd site feature a little further down, this excavated pit. Nobody knows why it's there. It doesn't show any signs of drainage coming in. Somebody thought it might have been like a test pit for, anyway. So that sort of obstructs passage, and we're proposing to fill that with gravel. And so I think I'm discussing this with Bert and Delia. So where the travelway is, this 8 or 9 foot, travelway over this pit, we'll probably just leave gravel, but the rest of the pit we'll try and naturalize. We will naturalize with either, topsoil or, leaf mold and, plant something on top of it just to return it to a more natural state.
Okay, so can we clarify, because originally my understanding was the plan was to on top of the gravel, put soil, some sort of seed, but now it's just gonna be leaf mulch.
So that's what we had suggested.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Instead of just the gravel, was to put gravel up to, 4,
Mhm.
6 inches at the top,
and then leaf mulch.
and then put the
Yeah.
soil on top of that to plant it.
Yes.
But I think the concern about being able to drive over that, it makes more sense that portion that's for access would be gravel, but then the back part, close to the wetlands, would be just filled with, leaf mold or soil or compost.
Yeah,
and then planted.
okay.
So there's no seeding going on then, we don't need the seeding, is that correct?
No seeding going on?
Yeah, you're not gonna.
Oh, not
seed-
grass seed?
No,
Yeah,
or, okay, because you're just gonna have a leaf mulch on top,
of the back part of it.
okay,
Well, we will put something organic down that.
on
can
top
be
of the
thrown in.
gravel, so,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, got it, okay. Okay, any other questions from the commission?
Is there any problem with that, with the Russian olive and not being listed in Massachusetts as an invasive plant? No? Okay. That's good. That's all right with that.
Yeah.
Jim?
I'm good.
Okay,
Good with me.
so. We're gonna issue a negative determination. Can I have a?
Sure, I move that we issue a negative determination on the project at 8A Lindsay Pond Road. The following conditions: 1, a pre-construction conference will be held with the DNR staff prior to the commencement of the work. 2, herbicide shall be applied by a licensed herbicide applicator. And 3, after the project has been completed, the applicant should submit a letter to the NRC stating that all work has been conducted in accordance with all conditions of this determination of applicability, and any changes from the RDA shall be described.
Thank you very much. And the vote, Jim,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks for the good work you do.
Thank you.
I'm glad you had something on your agenda.
Finished a minute too early.
Okay, next we have 201,
Oh, there is some.
Yeah,
how do
you
you
made
say it? Anursec Hill Road. Do we have this is an NOI, do we have a DEP currently up for this?
Not yet.
No, okay. There's 137 dash to be named, so who do we have representing this tonight?
here,
Oh,
Matt.
Okay,
Matt Morrow representing the applicant.
good evening, Matt.
How are you guys?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Am I able to share my screen, Delia, or? Did you guys want to do it?
I can allow that, 1 second. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. Much appreciated. Okay, can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
All right, so what we have here is a replacement septic system at 201 Inner's Neck Hill Road. The current system, and it's hard to see probably on the screen because it's a light dash line, so I'm going to zoom in here. The box 1 outlines where the existing septic system is here. Here is the existing field now. It is in failure. We are looking to replace it with the system here. We have this dashed dark line here is basically like a poly barrier that goes on the bottom that is used to stabilize underneath, in case, like we have the driveway here, in case anything rolls off the driveway, it won't hurt the system. That was a requirement of the Board of Health. We have the 100-foot buffer zone with this dash line right here going out this way. So it is this section of the system that I'm circling with my cursor here that is within the buffer zone. We have the sewer mains and the newer tanks that are going in. This line here is the 50-foot buffer zone. This dark line with the box labeled 8 is the proposed erosion control barrier. This area here on box number 9, this triangular symbol actually shows a tree outline. This tree has to be removed. It's a rather large tree, and it's because of its proximity to the system. There is you see a little bit of a shrub layer here. There are some old mountain laurels that will have to be cut back to accommodate the system. Otherwise, that's it as far as vegetation removal. It's fairly simple. I'm just waiting for DEP to give me a number with any comment.
And are we requesting mitigation for the trees? Yeah. Did you have a mitigation plan?
Well, I wasn't sure whether or not you guys would want tree mitigation. It's one tree. It's basically like right on the 100-foot buffer zone line.
Oh,
So the other trees,
These trees aren't being touched, but we always, as a habit,
Yeah.
Evan will always mark down larger diameter trees. And you will see them on the plans with the tree outline and the triangles.
yeah,
Oh,
so they're
I
all
see.
staying, it's just the one that is coming out, okay.
What kind of tree
It's
is it,
just
Matt?
this one right on the edge of the buffer zone.
Yeah,
What kind of tree is it, Matt?
That one over there, I believe, is an old red oak.
a red oak, oh, that's a shame.
I mean, if you
Are they
do want,
all-
I mean, we can substitute tree for tree down here, just outside the 50-foot, if you really want. I can have that plan amended, and put, I mean, we're still waiting for a DEP number, but like I said, I wasn't sure because it's right on the edge of the buffer zone.
Well, we
Frankly,
do,
I would do it.
yeah,
I
we
would
always
do
say
it.
yes to a tree.
I
Yeah,
agree.
and I
Yeah.
think, yeah,
Losing a red oak is not great.
Yeah,
So
that's-
if we can get
that's
another
not-
red oak, that would be great.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll have one drawn in, not a problem at all,
Great.
Yeah, if it's a Norway maple,
not a
it'd be
problem
good.
at all.
It's not.
is there a certain size tree that we would require? No, okay,
No.
okay,
it's easy to draw them in, you're gonna plant.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Sorry.
and then also, we have a comment here about the no build zone needs to be staked so that we can ensure there's no encroachment into that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want that as a condition to have it staked out,
Okay,
fine,
yeah.
not a problem.
Do that, great. Okay, any other comments from the commissioners?
No, me,
Oh, and I haven't been doing this, but any public comments on this application? No. Okay, so are you okay continuing the hearing to March 12th to to put these revisions
Please.
in, please? Yeah,
Yes, please.
I would say as long as, you know, what the commission has requested
Yeah.
is on the revised plan, it would just be a closed
It would
issue,
just be,
with no
yeah,
need for
that-
somebody to.
that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, did you hear that, Matt?
I did. Thank you very much for your consideration. I do appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
And thank you for adding the red oak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
We need-
Not a
do we need
problem.
motion
Our
to
pleasure.
continue? No.
Yeah.
Because it's,
Because the applicant is here.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, so last but not least, we have 1487 Monument Street. This is an NOI for DP file 1371695. And I believe we have Dave. Yeah, Dave's on. Would you like to unmute Dave?
Hello.
And Bert, I think he'll want you to pull this up. This form.
We saw you briefly, but we do hear you, Dave.
we're not.
Can you hear us okay?
Say, excuse me?
We can hear you, we can't see you, but that's fine, but we're asking if you could hear us.
Yeah, I do. It's a little, must be the volume on my machine here. A little muted. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah,
Is that better?
yes, much better.
Great, thank you.
Let me just get to my application page. My name is, good evening. Thanks for your time and thanks for seeing us about the project at 1487 Monument Street. My name is Dave Burke. I know some of you. I'm a wetland specialist and have worked in the area for many years. I'm here this evening on behalf of the Tom Curran Company or companies. And at this point, they do quite a bit of work as far as everything that involves building. I, for a long time, associated that group with painting because the signs were everywhere and they were always great color. Anyhow, they're working with the owner of the property who is with us this evening as well. And that would be Dr. Fred Nostrand. Norm Diarese is here, as is Susan Cutler. And Norm and Susan are from the Curran Company. So in short, what we have at the property is single home on a couple, 2.5 acres, I think, that was cut out of a larger piece, which fences and a big turnout area.
Dave, we're getting a lot of interference.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Yes, it is, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I have a pet dog under the table.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I unplugged the power cord. So anyhow, it appears to be like part of the big farm, but it's really on one of the front parcels known as Lot 1, and it's described in the narrative. And it contains a farmhouse and an existing barn and this chicken, what we come to call a chicken barn. It's a big chicken coop, walk in, it's got like a real low ceiling, no attic, and a portion of it has a concrete floor. But the property has been for many years, eons, who knows, associated with agriculture of some sort or another, as I write in the narrative. And it shows on the land. I mean, the trees that are there all out in the front are really big and huge spruces, etc. And the back is wide open for the horses. And at some point, it was probably some other type of livestock. So the appearance is, of the property, it's appears to be very wide and large and flat, and it is very flat, and parts of it are wet. So, but again, just to remind you, the lot that we are looking at, 1487, is not part of the larger parcel longer, so we are constrained a little bit with space as to what can be done here. So that being said, I went and viewed the wetlands 2 or 3 times, and I flagged them. I believe the date was the 14th of December. And I know it was well before, it was the 14th. It was well before the freeze up and the snow that we're confronted with at this point. And I kind of heard that coming and hustled to get out there and bang it out so I could drill soil holes. So the wetlands boundary is contained within what we call a wet meadow, and it's immediately behind the existing home before the property line, the rear property line. And it's shown on the plan here done by Snelling and Hamel survey. I flagged it numbers 1 through, I think, 11, and then across the cart road, there's a couple other flags to identify that boundary. But the one that we are concerned with is the number 1 through 11, and we'll get to that in a moment if I could. The chicken house itself, first of all, you can see like a Y in the shape of the cart paths. And those cart paths they're well traveled, and they're to access the back paddocks in an organized fashion and feed the horses and water them and to mend fences, etc. And there are what I call a 2-track or 2-lane path with grass in the middle and stones on where the wheels of a vehicle would go. At present, I've seen a Kubota running around there and a Bobcat type little equipment, mainly to tend to the animals. But they do have to be able to get down there with a pickup truck, I would assume at times for sure. There's one culvert that goes underneath. I had survey locate that. It shows us an invert, for whatever that's worth, an elevation in and out, so we know which way the water's going. The stream is intermittent. It is not a perennial stream. It was dry when I was there. Not the best time to make that observation with any importance, but it was. I was there outside the growing season, and the existing chicken barn is, you can see it's in a grayish hatched rectangle, and I have the wrong glasses on. I hate to say that, but unless I don't know. So I'm going to have to either blow that up a little, or it's the dimensions on that are existing 18 point. Yeah,
18.8,
by what is that? 38.
39.8.
Yeah, 39.8. So it's we think of it as 20 by 40 is pretty easy to do, plus or minus. And again, that barn, it's something of a barn, but it did house a lot of chickens in its day. It generated a lot of detritus that goes along with that, like chicken manure and spent hay and shavings and everything. And a lot of that, I think, wound up in a refuse pile around flag number 5. And we can, I guess, move over to the, and by the way, the chicken barn at present is almost empty. There's very little left in there. There are a few items, I couldn't tell you what, but I did peek in there, and it should be a very quick removal of every scrap of that building when the time comes. It shouldn't be difficult, shouldn't take time, shouldn't be messy. So if we want to discuss the wetlands a little bit, again, it's an open delineation. I sent a few photos of the area in general to give you a sense of what I'm looking at when I approach that, and then how we walk through there and determine what's what is in my report. And I look at vegetation did tell some stories there. It's got the regular wet meadow stuff like rushes and sedges, 4 or 5 different sedges, including Pennsylvanica, which is a good upland indicator, which is always helpful. There's cattail out there, there's loosestrife, there's some silky dogwood along the stream, there's bristleback sedge, tussock sedge, soft rush, and multiflora rose, and it was even some bittersweet creeping around out there and in the buffer zone. So it's not really woody based, it's annual and perennial grasses. And again, the picture shows that pretty clearly. And I don't know the mowing schedule there. I suspect by the height of the grass when I was there, it's probably once or twice a year. And I wouldn't doubt that they take it as hay. I don't know, but the owner could speak to that much better than I could. So we start with flag number 1 and kind of oftentimes when we see these cart paths, by the way, you know, the path is developed to stay outside of the wetlands. So, you know, whatever vehicle or animal that's using it doesn't founder in the wetlands. So a lot of times we do, and sometimes these paths over many, many years get built up too. So they burn water against them and we find a wetland on an opposite side of a path. In this case, it wasn't too much different. Out further, beyond this wetland, of course, there are, you know, it remains flat. There's very little relief out there. So groundwater table is kind of high here. So that said, but yeah, I started with flag 1 along the edge of the path and stretched them out a little bit there, 1, 2, 3, and then across 4. And I banged out, I don't know, probably at least 10 or 12 soil borings in the process of coming through that area, looking for hydric versus non-hydric soils, where the standard indicators are reliable. And in that area around the debris, I call it a pile for lack of a better word, there is, I think that's been catching manure or compost or something highly organic for a long time, that spot. And of late, I think the barn, and I'm just surmising this, but it did look at like the chicken barn might have been cleaned out, and you know, whoever works on the farm or whatever, and there is a small workforce there, threw some of it on top of that pile. It's mostly wood. There's some pipes and stuff in there and some brush, a good deal of brush. Looked to me maybe like it was getting set up to burn it during burn season. That would be logical. I'm sure it's been done before. But underneath, what I found around that pile was the soils are a little bit odd in that they were very rich in organics. And that would, you know, go hand in hand with a introduction over the years of manure and or compost. And at some point, maybe we can look at that in the field. So kind of existing is the wetlands boundary. It borders on this intermittent stream. It's got an invert, and the pipe disqualifies it as bordering, as does the channel in the swales. The chicken house is coming down. That's 20 by 40. It's roughly 800 square feet in size. And the proposal is to remove the chicken house out of the 50-foot. It's about half of it is inside the 50-foot no build zone. And proposal is to erect and construct a new garage type building. It's not a living building. There's no toilet in there or a shower. It will be a storage building, somewhat like between a barn and a garage, is my understanding. The dimensions on that are 30 by 48, and that calc is it's 1460, I think, and then there's 1460 square feet. I'll have to check that in a second against the narrative, but the dimensions are on there. I can't read them. There's also a concrete pad that is going to go out front just to trap mud and stuff, so we can avoid putting asphalt down for the approach, the driveway approach that says proposed P-Stone Drive. That we wanted to keep that as a pervious surface area, and so when you do that, obviously, at some point you're going to could be driving muddy tire into a nice clean garage. So the pad is good, that's why the pad is there. That is 10 feet by 30 feet, so that's 380 square feet. And then we tack that on to the 1460, I think it was, and come up with 380, 17, 19, 20, maybe something like that. And so that's the proposed, and then we take away 800 from that, and the math is in I'm so bad I don't have my other glasses, but I worked out the delta here in the narrative, and the difference between, or the added additional difference would be several hundred square feet. So if we take away the 800 from the chicken house, and then we use the 800 to take off of the proposed building, most of which is in the buffer zone, by the way. The entire thing is not, as you can see, the little south end of it or whatever is clipped off by the buffer, but essentially it's largely within it. But we would have a subtraction from that 1920 number by 800 square feet. So it puts us down around an additional 1100 plus or minus impervious surface at the end of the day, so to speak. And that's the proposal in summary. The chicken barn would be removed. It's on a stone foundation from what we can understand. Who knows how long it's been there. And the stones would come out. I suspect that you probably want to keep them around the property for use. We often find some really nice old stones in those foundations. And then that would be backfill. Everything would be carted out probably in 1 or 2 days. The roof, the studs, the concrete would be broken up with a hammer, ram hoe, and then everything goes, and then it would be neatly dressed off with clean fill. It's probably a 3 foot, 4 foot hole in the end by those dimensions. And then the plan is to loam and seed that and kind of match. The term that I use, just it's a fishing term, and it works when there's a certain type of bug out and you're trying to catch a certain fish. You match the hatch with the fly. But I do a lot of these restoration things and replantings, and what we do is try to match the surroundings that you are, you want your replication or your restoration area to assimilate well, with what's next to it on, 4 sides if possible, but at least put it in a place that it fits in. So we have seeding on board to stabilize that in the end. There's no grade to it. So the erosion is unlikely, but we will definitely use erosion control barriers until everything is stabilized and has germinated. And that would be just in quick back of the hand math again. I realize that you typically have a 1-to-1. That's type of ratio or offsetting mitigation for a disturbance in buffer. Buffer to buffer, 1-to-1. But in this case, I was hoping that since we had some takeaway, for the 800 square feet of the old building, and given the fact that that old building is within, I think it's within, I don't know, it could be a little bit of it could be in the 25 foot. It almost looks that way, but it's certainly within the 50. So, and part of the exercise here in planning this was to push the proposed barn as far away as possible, and it would have been easier and more aesthetically pleasing even to put it right where the chicken house is, but given the general procedure that we've adopted in town, the conservation-minded decision was used, and so that's why we're in the outer 50 and kind of tucked up against the house with the building. But
That's great. Thank you, Dave.
you're welcome.
Did you cover everything you wanted to? I think you covered everything on the plan. Yeah. So a few points. First of all, just for the record, I know you put in all the wetland flags. Staff were only able to confirm wet flag 7 in the field when they went along, and this is sufficient to move forward, but
Actually,
Oh,
I'm
it's
sorry, I
not?
sent you an email late in
Oh,
the
I'm sorry,
day,
I
so I
didn't see that.
apologize.
okay.
So
I reviewed, it's,
Flag 5.
it was the wrong flag. I thought, yeah, so we don't have confirmation of the flagging yet, but
Okay.
hopefully by the next meeting, conditions will allow for that review.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, so we need some sort of confirmation.
Yeah.
I know we don't necessarily need all the flags, but we
Right.
need some more confirmation. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, Dave, I just wanted to confirm that the wood debris or pile, as you call it, will be removed from the 25-foot zone, because that needs to be removed out of the 25-foot.
Yeah, that when we have the dumpster there, that keeps, for 10 minutes. See you later. bye.
Okay. And thirdly, mitigation, I think, I don't think there's a table, I know you are quoting numbers from the narrative, but I think it would be helpful on the plan to have a table outlining all the various square footage that you were talking about and making it clear what the end result is gonna be. And it's great that you're restoring the area where the chicken house is at the moment.
Mhm.
But I think we will need some more mitigation, probably in the form of shrubs.
Shrubs, yeah. What kind of shrubs?
Well, native, but it's, I'm sure staff will help you if
Well-
needed, or just native shrubs.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think, Dave, you can come up with a list of native shrubs that you can use.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, I certainly could, but I just don't, in that particular case, as I said with my little fish story, typically now in this, I'm all ears on this, but you wouldn't put shrubs in a field like that, and for a couple reasons. One is
It
there's,
doesn't have to
It
be in
doesn't have to
that
be shrub.
specific location. I think you could, you could restore that, once the chicken barn is removed, you could restore that back to, a field condition and look elsewhere within the buffer zone that, for areas that would make sense. I think the concern is just that there's going to be, mowing of that area and that, you don't really achieve any native restoration, with there's also no prep, to do a, sort of a native seed mix to put down there. So, that's a typical strategy, is trees and shrubs as a mitigation approach.
yeah, I'm aware of that. Okay, I'll try and find, here's the other issue I sometimes confront with a place like this. This place is half wild, it doesn't get tampered with a whole lot. The horse eat everything down to the ground. And then shrubs are really contained to the drainage swales. If you notice when you're out there, I certainly did. It's like I said, it's grassy because it has always been grassy.
Yeah. Is there room for another tree anywhere?
Yeah, I was thinking if it came down to woody, the shrubs are, the competition that they would face, getting plugged in with other shrubs in shrubby areas, is kind of, contradictory to the effort, I would think, and they'd probably be outcompeted. But a tree, I noted there are fruit trees on the other side of the road here.
Well, we'll let you make a proposal. I mean, you clearly understand because you mentioned the the amount of mitigation we require for the square footage difference, so once you've mapped that out in a table, you can propose what you want to do.
Okay,
And Dave, if you want to run through, you know, mitigation strategies, you know, you can definitely reach out to Bert or I and, you know,
Mhm.
bounce ideas off, but I don't think it makes sense to kind of design.
No, we never
This is-
design it, but,
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, any other comments from the commission?
No, not for me.
No, I'm good, thank you.
I think it would just be helpful to add the 25-foot no disturb zone
yeah, I
and the dumping, the debris to be removed, just note those on the plan.
Mhm.
okay. And you want a table showing those three numbers, okay? A table on the plan. When's the next hearing again? Is it, do we have?
Well,
March 12th,
March
with materials
12th.
due next Friday.
Yeah,
Okay, next Friday. Next, okay, we can make that.
which is the 28th, I think.
Yeah.
I think so,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay, well, good, then, you know, there's your introduction and too bad
Thank
we
you very much.
take it a little further, but I think we did great. And thanks as always for your time and dedication. I look forward to seeing next time.
Can I just ask if there are any public comments on this application before we close? Yes, okay, thank you. We'll see you on the 12th then.
Okay, I look forward to it. Thanks again.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye, you too.
Thanks, Dave.
And with that, we close the meeting. Thank you. I don't know, what is it?
7:47.
7:47.
Good.